Everybody, Vince August here. It is Friday, June 28th, 2024. Excuse the voice. I have no voice, which is very ironic today. Isn't it? Isn't it ironic that I'm coming out here with a sore throat? Let's see if I can actually get through this with a sore throat, though, without, screwing up sentences and making it through. Obviously, you guys already know the reference. Was supposed to be on Gutfeld tonight, got bumped. I guess everybody wanted to be on the show and join in on the trashing that is last night's debate. Look, you know what? Maybe the sore throat is a thing that screws up your ability to speak. Don't have a cold, just a sore throat. All right, let's jump right into it. Listen, if you are a Democrat, if you consider yourself a liberal, if you do not like hearing hard truths about being a Democrat, being a liberal, being a Joe Biden supporter, if you don't want to accept certain realities, shut it off now. Conversely, if you're a Republican, you're going to hear some things at the end of this video that may not make you happy, because I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I'm going to put this to everybody with regards to what I think last night really showed. First and foremost, this is, I think, the main takeaway from last night, leading into last night, and all the things I heard on the news last night. I didn't watch any news today because I wanted to do this just with the information I had last night. I don't ever want to hear Joe Biden. I don't want to hear this administration. I don't want to hear any left-leaning news media talk to me ever again, gaslight me, lecture me, or use the phrase, we're saving our democracy. Democracy is at stake, the soul of our democracy. I don't ever want to hear it again. You've lost the right to use that phrase and campaign on that. Okay. First, and right out of the gate, the fact that the only candidate actually on ballots as of right now, not all of them, but on ballots, there's one candidate that's actually listed on state ballots that I know of. Maybe others, but there's one for sure. It's RFK Jr. And the Democrats, specifically the Biden administration, is doing everything they can to keep him off of state ballots, including using litigation. I guess this is their thing now, using litigation to keep that candidate off the state ballot. One. Two, this goes to a little bit to both sides. Neither side wanted RFK Jr. on that stage. Now, it's the Democrats that talk about the soul of our democracy and saving democracy. So you're going to get the ass beating on this. Isn't democracy putting all of the candidates that have a viable shot, or at least are polling at a certain level, including them in the debate? And for anyone who's about to say to me, well, Vince, he doesn't have a chance to win. Hold on a second. When there's a primary, we have 20 people on a stage 50 yards wide and have everybody. Not only do we have a primary, we have multiple primaries, 2 different debates where we split up primaries to give it. So I don't want to hear that crap. Sell that crap to somebody else. Don't tell me about soul of the democracy and you keep RFK Jr. off the stage. Now, I don't care what you think about RFK Jr.'s policies. I don't care if you think he's an anti-vax nut. I don't care what you may or may not think about RFK Jr. The one thing I would love to hear someone tell me right now is that he can't put together better responses to questions and coherent answers than either one of those candidates. You may not like the answer. You may not like what he says, but be honest when it comes to being asked a question and answering a question. If you've ever watched RFK Jr. in an interview, you saw the other 2 guys last night, I dare you to tell me RFK Jr. doesn't answer in complete, coherent thoughts, actually answer the question he's asked and provide you with the information backing his answer. So that's the first thing right out of the gate with regards to soul of our democracy and all of that bullshit. Second reason it's bullshit is because last night, what I saw on CNN, MSNBC, everybody's already saying this guy's got to step aside. Joe Biden's got to step aside and let someone else do it. I've even seen people say, hey, look, you know what? Whoever Joe Biden puts in his position, that's who we have to support. I'm sorry. That's a democracy. So the guy who's president now gets to pick his successor, and you just automatically go for it. This guy gets told by the DNC, step aside, and they pick a successor, and you guys say, we're good. Let's go with it. You didn't have a primary. You refused to have a real primary. Every one of those channels, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, CBS, every liberal news channel said, no, this guy's our guy. You know what? Not the year for debates, not the year for any of this. If you had debates and you actually went through a democratic process, you would have seen last night back in January. And you could have taken care of it January, February, March. No. Instead, you decided in your save the soul of democracy, we're not going to do a primary. No, he's the candidate. He's the guy. Even though Joe Biden told us himself when he was running, look, I'm here to defeat Donald Trump. That's it. I'm going to defeat Donald Trump, and then we're going to pass this thing off, and the next person, well, somebody, maybe it's Joe, maybe it's his ego. Look, you've got to have a huge ego. You have to have tremendous hubris to want to be the president of the United States. I don't care who you are, okay? And I know people knock Donald Trump for his hubris, his narcissism. All of those people have tremendous egos, tremendous hubris. And I guess you do, to a certain level, have to have that to be the leader of a country. I don't know, it's got to be to the extent of, you know, where you come off as a little bit insane, but you have to have a certain level of hubris to lead that way. This guy, if he's looking at people today, and he's saying it, I'm running, I'm not stepping aside, well, then guess what? Here's your Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Here's your Dianne Feinstein all over again. So don't tell me about democracy. Don't tell me about saving the soul of democracy. This isn't about that. This is about monarchy, succession, control, manipulation. Okay? This is what it is. This is what it's always been. You want to name successors, and the Democrats love doing that. And if you don't believe me, look at this century. 2008, Hillary Clinton was supposed to run. She was going to be the presidential nominee. Then Barack Obama comes out of nowhere. And the only reason they didn't tell Barack Obama to stand down was because he was black. And they weren't about to tell an African-American man, it's not your turn, it's a woman's turn first. Wasn't going to happen. So what happens? Howard Dean, head of the DNC at the time, says, Hillary, step aside. It's his turn. Don't worry. In 4-8 years, whatever happens, happens. Me and you are going to run on the same ticket. In the meantime, don't worry. The administration's going to take care of you. Secretary of State, Senator in New York, who knows? We're going to get you all kinds of shit. In fact, you're going to get so much work in the next 4 or 8 years. You're going to be called the most qualified candidate that's ever run for president. Go ahead. Look this up. Google this. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me this is all tin hat shit. I dare you. Then what happens? Obama serves out his 8 years. 2016, Hillary's turn. What happens? Bernie Sanders is beating her. Bernie Sanders is beating Hillary Clinton. And what do Democrats do? They go to Bernie and say, hey, listen, you can't play the black man card. You're going to stand down. Don't worry. We'll take care of you. Stand down. And Bernie Sanders, much to the chagrin of all of his supporters, all the Bernie bros took a knee, and Bernie people were pissed. In fact, Sarah Silverman had to say at the DNC, hey, all Bernie people, which she was one of, hey, all Bernie people, we got to get over it. We got to get over it. That's what you call democracy? Really? That's soul of democracy. And what happened? People didn't get over it. And Hillary ran. And the DNC threw money into the Trump campaign because they wanted to elevate him, because they thought, cakewalk, we beat this guy easy. They were fucking laughing as Trump was blowing away the field. Then when it came head to head, what happened? She lost, and what did everybody do? They got pissed at Trump. Not Hillary was a bad candidate. Not she got beat by Obama in 2008. She was getting beat by Bernie this time. No, that got ignored. It was, this is bullshit. And then what do? They cook up this Russian thing. They start coming up with all kinds of excuses. He's an illegitimate president, not my president. Refused to accept election results. Soul of our democracy, right? Okay. Biden wins. He's now your president. He's going to be the president for all of us. We want to see him do well. But his record speaks for itself. It is what it is. He's done good stuff. He's done bad stuff. It's like every other president. Unfortunately, the bad stuff hits home worse than the good stuff. A good stock market doesn't speak to all 350 million people. It just doesn't. You know what does? Inflation. That speaks to people. The border speaks to people. Then we get to a point this year where this guy's looking old. He just comes off as old. And MSNBC, CNN, The View, Karine Jean-Pierre has been fucking gaslighting us for the last 2 months nonstop. What, he wasn't dancing? He wasn't clapping along with the music? Those are deep fakes. He's the most energetic guy here. Get the fuck out of here with that. The most energetic guy there. He wakes up before all of us. He's on the Stairmaster juggling knives before we even wake up. You gaslit us for the deep fake thing for the last 2 weeks has been unbelievable. Unbelievable. They're literally looking at the TV telling us, don't believe what you're seeing. What you're seeing, that's bullshit. I know because we see him. Joe Scarborough and his wife, Minka, whatever her name is, Mika, I don't even know because I don't watch that shit. I don't watch any of that mainstream shit. Gaslighting the hell out of the American public. Well, guess what? You couldn't hide it last night. And now you all have egg on your face. And what's your answer? Step aside, insert the next man up or next woman up. That's your answer. Soul of our democracy. I don't want to hear that shit ever again. First point. Want to look at the comments. I want to see if anyone's chiming in just yet. Rich, you're the man coming on with a sore throat. Yeah, right? Coming on. Let's see if I can hold up better for 90 minutes than the other guy did. Here's the other thing. And this is true mainly of the Democrats. If you challenge Joe Biden on his age, whether it's Bill Maher, whether it's David Axelrod, whether it's anybody on those channels, on CNN, on MSNBC, if there's actually a left-leaning person or someone who's declared a liberal or someone on those news channels that actually says, look, man, this guy comes off as old, it's as if you're endorsing Donald Trump. And what people have to understand is a criticism of your candidate is not an endorsement of the other. I don't understand this mentality that this guy is, and I've said it in previous podcasts, benevolent and infallible. You people, you talk about Donald Trump being a cult. Maybe he is. Maybe his followers are. You think you're any better? That this guy cannot be questioned as to his age. His age is his strength. Like, we look fucking Herculean last night then, if his age is his strength. Come on, man. That's the other thing. You guys refuse to criticize Your own guy. And I say this all the time. Trump people are quicker to bash Trump than Biden people will ever bash Biden. I hear Trump people saying all the time, man, look, I know he talks too much. I wish he wouldn't tweet. I wish he wouldn't do this. I wish he wouldn't do that. I hear that from Trump supporters. I hear that from Republicans. I don't hear, it's radio silence when it comes to Biden flubbing. In fact, not only is it radio silence, it's, no, that's not what you saw. I saw him glitch. I saw him freeze. Now, that's a deep fake. Really? He screwed up his words. No, look at the transcript. They delete and edit the transcript. They actually edit transcripts of this guy to make it look like he didn't say the things he said, rather than just come out and say, look, he's 81, man. He misspoke. You know, I look, I'm 54. I walk into rooms. I forget why. I have actually had my glasses here on my head and been like, where are my glasses? Where the hell am I? I can't find my glasses at 54. I will admit it. I will admit it. It doesn't mean you can't function. Doesn't mean I can't do my job as a lawyer. Doesn't mean I can't perform as a comedian. You have brain farts. We all have brain farts. You all forget things. Okay. That's why we have these things. It's why we have reminders. Can't remember everything. But for some reason, if you criticize this guy, it's an endorsement of the other guy. When did this shit happen? And it's funny too, because in a society where we have so many sports fans, we have people that are sports fans. When it comes to sports, people criticize their own team, the management, the players, all the time. It's not an endorsement of the other team. It's not saying you're going to get rid of your fandom. You're changing over to root for somebody else. I don't understand that mentality, but this is what we've become. You know, let me tell you something. It was said best by George Carlin. In this country, we're given the illusion of choice. You're given the illusion that you have a choice over these candidates. You don't have a choice. They showed you last night you didn't have a choice. There was no Democratic primary, and now they're in closed doors thinking, who are we going to replace him with? And he's saying, I ain't going. I ain't going. But they're talking, who can we replace him with? Not who do the people want? Who can we replace him with? And don't think Kamala Harris isn't going nuts right now. She's saying, what do you mean who could we replace? Me. I'm next up. No, you were what we needed on the ticket in order to get certain things that we had to get. You're not next up. And you're going to preach to me about soul of our democracy? Get out of here, man. Get out of here. Let's do some comments before I move on to the next stuff, because I got to get to the substance, which was, I don't even want to talk about either one of these candidates because substance-wise, they both sucked. The new spin was that Biden was bad, but at least he told the truth. No, Barry, because they did a fact check and he told 9 lies and Trump told 30. And what? There's a margin of error of the president's lying to us. And then here's the other thing. The one thing I will say is this. When Biden tells a lie, it's nobody died military-wise under my watch. Well, 13 soldiers died leaving Afghanistan. Is that one lie or is that 13 lies? We know what Trump's bullshit is. Trump has got this hyperbolic bullshit that he throws out that the black people had it better under me than any other president in the history of the world. Unemployment numbers were lower than anybody else in the history of the world. We have the greatest economy. I gave him the greatest economy. He does that bullshit, that ego narcissistic bullshit where he's the greatest at everything ever. We know what his lies are. His lies are, I'm great, everyone else sucks. Because you know what? He's Trump. And he runs Trump Industries, and everybody always sat there, So that's the difference. Biden at one point said unemployment under this guy was 50%. So you know what? No, there's no margin of error for lies. So it's 30-9, and we say, well, 9 is acceptable, 30 isn't. How about none of you lie to us? How about you all stop it? So there shouldn't be one lied less than the other. And that 30-9 number came from CNN, by the way, last night. Don needs to learn how to answer a question with real facts. Oh, Barry, I'm going to get to Trump. I haven't even started on Trump because remember what you're hearing today. And this is key to this whole thing. All you're hearing about is how bad Biden looked. Nobody is saying how Trump killed it. No one is talking about how Trump killed it. Everybody's talking about what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about this? So, yeah, Barry, trust me, I'm going to get to DJT in a minute. Those sides by sides were comical. I don't think you know enough Biden supporters to know how they really feel about Biden. Maybe start hanging around some of us instead of just hanging around Trump supporters, and you would know, because we describe how we're feeling about Trump team. Well, Seema, to be honest with you, I work for a very left-leaning show, and I'm there 4 days a week. I hear left talking points pretty much on the regular. And just so everyone knows, I've said this before, so look up my voter registration card, undeclared. In fact, I need to put up a picture of my voter registration card and block out my information, undeclared voter. I don't vote in primaries. I don't vote in Republican primaries. I don't vote in Democratic primaries. I don't call myself an independent because I'm not an independent. I don't go into voting booths and go down the line. That's how I do it. And I'll tell you who I voted for. First time, Ross Perot. Second time, Ross Perot. Third time, Ralph Nader. Okay? So I don't vote down lines. And in terms of friends, I have friends on both sides of the aisle. And I look at both of them as, you guys have bought into this team bullshit. And it's about the country, not parties. Because I've said it and I will say it again. Pro-gun, pro-choice. I believe in strong borders. I also believe in immigration because I'm the son of an immigrant. So I believe that you should have a DACA policy. I believe that you should have a policy that helps immigrants become citizens. I don't think you should have a wide open border where you let literally 5,000 people a day pour over. So I'll go down the list. Okay. I believe in small government. I don't want the government involved in all of my shit. I don't like the Patriot Act. I don't like either one of these plans that we put forth during COVID because they were the largest upward transfers of wealth. So if you think I lean either way, you don't know me. And I do work at a left-leaning show. So I hear left-leaning talking points all the time. Let's see. Biden voters are in hiding. No, they're not. They're out. And they're saying, listen, again, to me, it's none of last night was about policy. And that's the key here, Barry. None of last night was about policy. Last night was literally about, can this guy stay and look alive for 90 minutes? And can the other guy not trip over his dick for 90 minutes? That's where the bar was set. The bar was set at their ankles. One guy tripped over it and the other guy got over it. That's what last night was. Again, if you guys think I'm leaning either way towards these guys, you didn't hear the beginning of this podcast. That was a bullshit debate when the only guy not on the ticket, RFK Jr., was not at that debate. So it's already a bullshit debate. Barry, Trump did more for veterans than anyone has. No, Rich, no. He hasn't done more for veterans than anyone has, okay? Because Ross Perot, on his own, not as a political person, has done more for veterans, okay? Tunnel to Towers does more for veterans, okay? Jon Stewart has done more for the 9/11's Victims Fund. There are people that do things behind the scenes for veterans and for people and organizations that no one sees. No one sees that philanthropic stuff. Everybody thinks it comes from Washington. It doesn't, because if it came up from Washington, we wouldn't have homeless veterans. So that's that. Stop with the common sense before you get yourself targeted. Oh, fucking Tim, I'm already targeted. Don't worry about it. Vince is annoyingly honest. Yeah, I know. And it bothers people. And I don't give a shit because I'm going to piss off both sides tonight. By the time this is over, trust me, I'm going to piss off both sides. Okay. Yeah. Deep fakes. Don't want to hear about deep fakes again. I don't want to hear that any videos out there of Joe Biden have been altered. Stop that nonsense. Done. That issue's done. The other thing, he had a cold. 45 minutes into the debate, all of a sudden, all over Twitter, his campaign, he has a cold. That's why he's struggling. Really? Went to a Waffle House at 12:30. I understand today he was out in North Carolina. One of them was in North Carolina, one of them in Virginia. Out there, by noon, he was out there. So he's fine today. Last night, the cold debilitated him to that point. And here's another thing. This guy was locked down for a week, did nothing but prepare for this debate. So you mean to tell me a week straight of nothing but preparation, and that's what we got as our best? Here's the question for people out there. Honestly, be honest. You honestly think this guy's running the country? Now, no single president runs the country. Let's put that shit aside right now. No single president runs the country. You have secretaries of all the different departments. You have decision makers underneath them. Then you have the money that funnels in, Raytheon, Pfizer, Moderna, all the tech money that funnels in. The people that write the laws that get put to the floor for a vote aren't even written by anybody that you elected. So get that shit out of your head. So it's not like he's running the country and he's making decisions, but in a crucial situation, that was 1 week of preparation. I'm sure he's not making the decisions, but you have to ask yourself, be honest, who is? Who is? Because not that guy. Let's see. All right, let's get to some substance. How long have I been running here? I don't even, 26 minutes. Let's get to the substance of the debate. Okay, now, with regards to answering questions, look, I'm going to say it. Trump was Trump 2016. That was Trump 2016. What you saw last night was Trump 2016. What you saw last night was Trump 2020. Okay. Question asked, and he does that hyperbolic shit. Things were great under me. Things were never better than under me. Look, the war in Ukraine would have never happened. Would have never happened. Iran would have never attacked Israel. Okay. None of this would have ever happened if I was there. Come on, man. That's not a solution. You're not giving me an answer. What are you going to do about it? Okay. It would have never happened. It would never. And trust me, once I'm in, it's going to end. It'll end the day before I even take the oath. It'll be over. Guys, these are not answers to questions. These are not policy answers. They're not. And again, because the bar is so low for these guys, it's like, because one guy did so bad, the other guy did bad. Show me the people today, anywhere, because I haven't watched news. I had a real estate closing. I had to get a project out the door. I just went to bank, post office, came straight here to the studio. I haven't watched any of this stuff. I haven't been online. I want to see, and I'm going to go through it. I will look. Let me know who's saying that Trump killed it last night. That's what I want to know. I want to see the people saying Trump was coherent. Trump was this. He got asked point blank to his face about Stormy Daniels. And he said, I never had sex with a porn star. Come on, man. Come on. What are we doing here? Really? You never had sex with her, but you paid her off 140 grand, or Michael Cohen paid her off and you reimbursed him 130, 140, whatever it was. Really? Come on. Just say, look, it's a legal case. It was resolved. There's an NDA. I'm not going to answer. That's how you answer a question. That's how you answer a question, by the way. Look, the border was closed under me. It's a disaster under him. It's a disaster. We're going to close the border. We're going to go back. What are you going to do? CIA, FBI's running. You were asked point blank, are you going to go after your political enemies? Look, I could, I should, look at what they did to me. There was no substantive answers. Okay. The only thing he did do was point out what was standing 15 feet away from him. And you know what? That was the plan last night. I'm not that. That was his plan last night. I'm not that. Hyperbolic, vague, rambling Trump. Look, I've never seen a full Trump rally. God knows I've never been to one. I've never been to any political rallies. But if you see him go on and on at a rally, last night that was that, but in 2-minute and 1-minute segments. That's all it is. So, that you're sitting there and thinking you're getting something of substance. I don't think you did. You just weren't as bad as the other guy. And here's the thing. For anyone out there who's going to tell me Trump is going to reinstitute policies, reinstitute this, reinstitute that. Okay, hold on a second. Let's go back and look. Inflation was definitely lower. The border was definitely doing better. Stock market, better under Biden than Trump. Got to say what it is. right now. Stock market's at an all-time high. So if that's what you want, definitely. When it comes to wars, no wars under Trump. We've got almost the brink of World War III under, Biden and again, the neocons that support this guy. Okay. You could go back and forth on policies. You could go back and forth on what was bad. Both had negatives, both had positives. And if you're one of these COVID people, Trump was there, Operation Warp Speed. If you had to take a vax, it was his vax. Okay. He was the one who shut down the country originally and let Fauci go crazy. So if you have a problem with Anthony Fauci, Donald Trump didn't fire him. When you look at the swamp that he was supposed to drain, most of the people that he hired were people from the swamp. The constant firing and hiring of people. Don't forget who one of his press secretaries was, Scaramucci. You guys forget some of the stuff. So he didn't exactly kill it last night. So, don't make it seem like he blew away Biden. No, it's that Biden was so bad that it made him look better. Okay. It's like you played a one-on-one game of basketball and the other guy missed every shot and you made 40% of your shots and people are like, oh my God, this is a blowout. No, the other guy just was that bad. So that's part of what made Trump look better than Biden. But substantive wise, listen, if you like Trump in 2016 and 2020, you're going to love him now because you're getting the same thing. And if that's what you want, great. That last night, and you have to be honest as a Republican and a Democrat, that last night you watched that TV and you watched those two guys on that TV. And if you never once for a minute thought, wow, this is seriously the best we could do. Be honest. Both sides right now, be honest. Never once during the course of last night did you stare at that TV and think, man, this is it? Really? We can't do better than these two? This is what we've come down to. And I'll tell you right now, I vote against incumbents because I believe in term limits. And the only thing that's a term limit right now is this, you, the voters. Okay. And we're going to get to someone else who got term limited and didn't react exactly the right way. So again, that's my take on it. I know I'm pissing off both sides, but it is what it is. Barry Turner, I'm loving this. Trump is in Virginia. Yeah, one of them was in Virginia. One of them was in, I think, North Carolina. When are you doing the Hall in Hackensack again? Going down to Florida next week. I'm doing Off the Hook in Naples, Off the Hook Comedy Club, Naples, Florida, July 2nd, July 3rd. We're going to look about stuff around here, but I do post on Instagram and Facebook. I think Don's family left the campaign because he doesn't listen to them. No, Barry, he doesn't listen to anybody. And that's the problem. Look, the thing with Trump is if you feel like you're the smartest man in the room and you believe you're the smartest man in the room, you should move to another room. Because unless you know everything about everything, you're in the wrong room. I never want to be the smartest person in the room because then I'm not going to learn anything and I'm going to get real bored real fast. I'll be the first one to say, I say it on every podcast I do. Comment, tell me how I'm wrong. Tell me how I'm wrong. And listen, who was it? I think it was Seema told me, you don't know enough Biden supporters to really know how they feel about Biden. You know what? Maybe I don't. This is anecdotal, Seema. I'll give it to you. I am anecdotal evidence. I know the Biden supporters I know, and I know the Trump supporters I know. And I'm going to say to you, it's probably 55-45 Biden supporters to Trump supporters that I know. Probably 55-45. Because don't forget, I work in the entertainment industry. Half of my career is the entertainment industry. So I'm around that a lot. A lot. Okay? So it's 55-45 in terms of that. Am I hearing every Biden supporter? It's impossible. Of course I'm not. But the vocal points for the Biden supporters is the media. CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, CBS. That is the vote. And Karine Jean-Pierre, his press secretary. That's what I'm going on. So you're right. Am I going up? No. Do I do Rasmussen polls? No. Am I a Quinnipiac poll? No. All of what I'm saying here is anecdotal. Fine. Granted. Point taken. I'm just telling you from what I hear. It's my podcast. This is what I hear. I'm surprised it's not 90-10. No, it's not, Barry, because you know what? A lot of the people in Bergen County where I live, believe it or not, tend to be more centrist than a lot of people think. Their thoughts and beliefs are centrist. How they vote is different because most people are single or two issue voters. Okay. So some people are taxes. Some people are abortion. Some people are gun rights. Some people are free speech. So usually you whittle people down to about 4 or 5 issues. Economy is huge. Okay. So those are mainly the issues. Most people I know don't want to get taxed out the ass. That's a conservative thing. Most people I know are pro-choice. The interesting thing is, even the right-leaning people I know tend to be pro-choice. What they don't like is, I don't want to have to pay for your abortion, and I don't think it should be third trimester. And that's a lot of things too. Like even with the gun people, I know a lot of Democrats that are gun owners. They want restrictions. And I say it all the time. Longer wait periods, man. I'm all for it. Okay. Listen, with certain guns, you keep them at a facility rather than in your home. I don't have a problem with that. But don't tell me that the biggest gun dealer in the world, the United States, can sell guns all over the world, start wars all over the world, but I can't protect myself. That's bullshit. So again, where I'm coming from. Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? You know what? The weird thing is the pandemic hurt me real bad because the entertainment industry got shut down and law went to Zoom and a lot of things slowed down. So during that snapshot of the first 2 years, I think everybody was worse off. Where I am now versus where I was then, I'm probably about the same. Is the country better off or not? Look, I guess you could take it from a statistical approach. I look at it as approach from how are we perceived internationally? And is the country any more united than what we were after Trump left office? And my answer to that question is, I don't think so. So we need somebody else. And again, I don't know that the answer is either of these two guys, but we never had a choice or a chance with the Democrats because they never had a primary. The Republicans had their primary. They had their elimination. This is what it came down to. It was Nikki Haley, neocon, more wars, more spending, more of the same shit, or we go back to the other guy. To me, these aren't choices. These are shit choices. I'm sorry, they are. And that's why, again, why I look and say, this is really the best we could do. Both sides. So that's me being honest about that answer. All right. God, 40 minutes on that. That's a long time. Let's get to the next thing. Jamal Bowman got primaried in New York and Westchester and part of the Bronx, and he lost by about 10 points. And he and AOC, because they're part of this squad, whatever, were really upset and saying how they lost to money, how money went into a campaign and into this other guy, Latimer's campaign. And the only reason they lost is because $20 million, $18 million, whatever it was, got dumped into this guy's campaign. And you know what? That's how they beat him. But that's our country. Are you kidding me? Really? Now you're upset about money in politics? All I hear about every day is the size of a war chest of each candidate. It's all I hear about is how much money Joe Biden has raised. Joe Biden's doing a fundraiser here. How much money did Donald Trump raise? Oh my God, Donald Trump got convicted. Oh my, look at how much money. All I hear about is how much money people raised. And then when somebody loses because the other person had money injected to their campaign, now all of a sudden we want campaign finance reform. Get out of here with that. The other thing is this: the money that apparently went into Latimer came from Jewish organizations and Jewish groups. Jamal Bowman has been a huge proponent of Palestine and Gaza. you can consider it very anti-Israel. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to use AOC's way of speaking. Like when she said that thing, it is a category. RICO is a category. It is not a crime. Jamal Bowman is a representative. He's a representative. If your district is predominantly Jewish, if your district is predominantly Israeli, you're a representative of your district, not of your own conscience. If it bothers you that your district is comprised mainly of that group of people, and you can't reconcile that with yourself, then you shouldn't be their representative. Because as a representative of your district, your job is to go to Washington and say, this is what my district wants. It's not what I want. I'll be honest, I disagree with this, but I represent the voters that voted me in, and this is what they want. That's what a true representative does. But that's been lost because now it's about you voted for me, I'm going to do what I want. And this is all the way down the line. This is both sides do the same thing, okay? It's about their beliefs, what they stand for, because, well, you voted for me, so you like my beliefs. Yeah, but hold on a second. You more align with my beliefs than the other candidate. I don't like everything you do. You got to come back and ask me every now and then how I feel about something, and then go bring that to Washington, which is why we had representatives. It's a history lesson, guys. Look it up. That was the whole point of having a representative. We all can't go down to Washington and vote. I voted for you. Go tell them this is what we want collectively. Jamal Bowman didn't do that. He got primary. He got picked off. Refuses to accept the outcome of the election. Again, soul of our democracy. Whatever, man. Let me get into something else. Let's see. More the fixed income, elderly, and low income are worse off than rich. Look, 401ks, I guess, are up. If the stock market's up, 401ks are up. In terms of medical, in terms of Medicare, Medicaid, in terms of Social Security, nobody's fixed it. Nobody's fixed. And no one's got the balls to bring it to a House floor vote. No one's ever brought Medicare for all to a House floor vote. They all talk big games, but no one does anything to do it. But listen, again, is Trump the perfect candidate? No. When looking at that side by side last night, clearly, if I'm voting for one of those two men to sit in that seat and act as the representative of our country, one guy looked very, very old, weak, and feeble. The other guy at least looked alive. So if that's my choice between those two, there's no choice. But it's not just about that. It's about what policies are you going to put into effect? What's your cabinet going to be? I don't even know who his vice president is yet. I thought we were going to find out last night. I don't even know who his vice president is yet. Tell me what you're going to do, man. You got to tell me what you're going to do. All right. Next thing I want to get on. This is running way too long, man. 43. I got to learn how to chop these up. If there's anybody out there who's a video editor, reach out to me. Other thing, Justin Timberlake. Look, this is not legal advice. Okay. I'm not giving anybody legal advice out there, but if you get pulled over for a DWI, take the breathalyzer, take the Alka test. Okay. A refusal is a per se violation. Then what are you talking about? Don't give it to me in legal languages. Speak to me like I'm a 12-year-old kid. That's what we're told in law school. Talk to a jury like they're 12-year-old kids. Fine. Let me break it down to you this way. It's a little bit easier than to do a DWI. Handicap parking. It's not whether or not you're handicapped that you can park in that spot. You either have the placard or you do not have the placard. It's not a question of whether you're handicapped. You either have the thing or you don't have the thing. Your license plate either has a wheelchair on it or it doesn't. You can be handicapped, not have the placard. You park in a handicapped spot, you're guilty. Per se violation. The statute says if you are handicapped, you need to have a placard The placard allows you to park in the handicap spot, not the disability. The placard has you able to park there. Okay, you got to remember that. So that's the thing. It's not whether or not you're handicapped. It's whether or not you have the placard. DWI, refusal. It's not whether or not you're drunk. It's whether or not you took the test. If you don't take the test, like he didn't take the test, if you don't take the test, you're guilty of refusal. You're guilty of DWI. Period. End of story. Now, then, automatic guilty. Well, look, you could bring motions on whether or not the officer had probable cause to do the stop. You could do motions on whether or not the officer articulated correctly your obligation to take the Alka test or breathalyzer. You could bring a motion to suppress, to say that you didn't understand the instructions. I'm Spanish, I'm Asian, I'm Italian, I'm Indian, I'm German, whatever you are. I don't speak English. They did not have an officer that spoke my language. The form only comes in English. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what they were saying to me. So there are ways to beat it. There are ways to beat it. But assuming all things, proper stop. Assuming the officer had probable cause for the proper stop. Assuming the officer gave proper instructions. Assuming the officer gave you the form to sign to acknowledge. Assuming the officer was licensed operator of an Alka-Test breathalyzer machine. Assuming that the machine was properly calibrated. Assuming all forms are in order. New Jersey, state of New Jersey has 12 forms. All of them are in order. Everything checks out. Here, blow. No, I'm not doing it. Guilty. That's it. It's a per se violation. I tell my clients, I tell people I know, you're better off taking the test because a lawyer has more options with the test. Now, here's the other thing. I don't know this about New York. I know it about New Jersey. You cannot plea bargain a DWI. So DWI cannot go from a DWI to a reckless. Can't go from a DWI to a careless. It's a DWI, period, end. There's no downgrade for a DWI. You're either guilty or you're not guilty, period, end. Can you knock it down to? No, there's no knock it down. It's that it is what it is. Same thing with handicap parking. It's handicap parking. You violated it. Can we just make it a regular parking ticket? No. Can we make it like disturbing the peace? No. There is no downgrade to those statutes. So my advice to people, you're better off taking the test. It gives a lawyer, there's a lot more things a lawyer could do with that than a refusal. A refusal, we're really stuck because the motions you have to file to suppress, the motions you have to file to try to say that you didn't understand are a lot tougher, unless it's one of those slam dunk situations where you don't speak the language, you don't understand for whatever reason. Now, you can't say, well, I didn't understand the instructions because I was drunk. Well, guess what? Then you're fucking guilty. I mean, come on, man. What are we doing? Last thing I want to cover, because we're almost into an hour here. So, sports thing, real quick. NBA last night, second round of the draft. I get a ticker. LA Lakers pick LeBron James' son, to be on the Lakers. Now, look, that I'm a basketball scout, that I know what his kid's ability is compared to the other people that were picked. Absolutely not. I don't know how good this kid is in comparison to all of the players that were available. I don't know if he's good enough to be on the Lakers. I don't know if he's good enough to be on any team. I don't know if he's good enough to play on the USC team that he was on. I'll be honest. I've never seen the kid play. I don't know. However, if you're the Lakers and you just drafted LeBron James' son, and there are people out there that are experts that I've seen that have mentioned this kid is not good enough to play in the pros. It's not like he was dominating college. He wasn't even dominating in college. He was okay in college, maybe good in college. He wasn't great by any stretch of imagination. We weren't hearing about Bronny James the way we were Caitlin Clark. And I'm sure if the son of arguably one of the best basketball players in the league right now, I'm sure if he was putting up Caitlin Clark numbers, it would have been all over the place. He clearly wasn't. The team wasn't great. He wasn't carrying the team. If you draft the son of a player to be on your team just so you have that father-son thing, look, man, I saw this already. I saw this game when it was baseball, and it was the Seattle Mariners, and Ken Griffey Sr. played with Ken Griffey Jr. Was it cool? I guess. I don't know, for like 5 minutes. But how are you taken seriously as an organization if that's where you're going? How are you taken seriously as a basketball team if your thing right now is we just want to get father and son to play together? Because now if I'm a player on that team, I'm like, wait a minute. You hired the head coach after he did a sit-down podcast with LeBron. 2 days later is my coach. Next thing I know, you're drafting his kid when he could have just possibly walked on and nobody would have drafted him. Look, man, I don't care. I'm not a Laker fan. I hope they lose every game they play because I'm a Boston Celtic fan. But you can't be taken serious as an organization if you do shit like that. That's my opinion. Again, just my opinion. Whatever. Don't care about the Lakers. Let's see. Any other comments? True that. Look, let me know if you watched live. Let me know if you watched on the repeat. Let me know if you stopped, started, stopped, started. Feedback is welcome. Again, you want to tell me I'm wrong on any of the stuff I said? By all means, tell me I'm wrong. Prove me wrong. I'll be the first one to admit I'm wrong. I don't have that kind of ego where I won't. I'm not Chris Cuomo where I won't apologize for being wrong. If I'm wrong, I apologize. If I'm not, hey, look, my opinion. Everything I say here is anecdotal. It's based on the information I have. It's based on the interactions with people I have. It's the Vince August podcast. It's not the I fucking know everything podcast. Okay. It's not the I have information from all over the place podcast. This is me giving my opinions, trying to keep people sane, telling people what I saw, telling people what I think, what I feel. You may disagree, and that's great because you know what? Here's the thing. We don't have to agree with everybody on everything. I love it when I don't agree with everybody on everything. Okay. I've been with the same person for 24 years. You think we agree on all of this shit? No, we don't. Okay. The only time I want to agree with people, the only time I want to be in a place where there's like-minded people is like tomorrow, 12 o'clock. I'm going to watch Italy play Switzerland. I want to go to an Italian place where there's nothing but Italians. I don't have to see anybody waving a Swiss flag or have a Swiss Army knife on them rooting against my team. That's the only time I want to be somewhere where I'm surrounded by people that I agree with. Other than that, I love hearing different opinions. I love having different perspectives because you know what? For everybody out there that's wondering what I think, I'm going to blow your mind. I don't want to live in a country where all we have in Washington is 535 Democrats. I don't want to live in a country where all we have is 535 Republicans. The best thing about this country is when we have an offset. The only problem with our offset, like right now, our Senate is 50-50, tie-breaking vote, Kamala Harris. So what? Everything that passes is going to be left-leaning. That's the point where you should look and say, hey, look, man, we both got to give and take a little bit to get something for everybody. But we don't do that anymore because we've gone this way and not everybody. There are people out there. How about this? There are people out there that honestly believe one party is better than the other, whichever party it might be, and they want all of their people in Washington. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong on that one, that there aren't people out there that want all Republicans, Republicans are always right, Democrat. No. You know what? I like to go a la carte because there are times I like a lot what the Democrats say. There are times I really like it a lot what the Republicans say. And there are times I say, you know what, man, if we had the vice president and the president off of different parties, a Republican and a Democrat, wouldn't that be something? I like it when we have multiple representations, multiple ideas, because the other side, when you just have one party, first of all, that's called fascism. Okay. It's not even communism. That's fascism. One party rules, straight up fascism. The second thing is, you think that party is going to stay one party? Look at the Democrats now. They have the squad. Look at the Republicans. They had the Tea Party. Even if you get to that place, they're going to separate. It's just the way it is. So you know what? I like having a little bit of everything. This way, we do get gun rights. This way, we do get freedom of choice rights. This way, we do get more First Amendment choices. That's me. That's my opinion. You don't like it? Go watch another fucking podcast. What do you want me to tell you? If you don't agree with Vince, you're not white. You're not black either. Definitely not Italian. No, I'm 100% Sicilian. Don't even go there, Barry. Again, like, subscribe, share, tell people, look, man, this guy says it the way it is. Or you can tell me I'm an asshole. I don't care. By the way, if you do that, if you hit me with just insults, if you come at me with that type of attack, I delete you. I block you. I'm not going to engage. I don't do that stuff. I get attacked on Twitter all the time. I don't engage, block. That's it. You're done. Come at me with a real perspective, real point of view. I'll listen to you. Try to change my mind. I love to have my mind changed, because you know what? I'm not the same person today I was, 5 years ago. Certainly not the same person I was in my 20s, 30s, 40s. You grow, you learn. Everybody, hopefully I'll do another podcast before the 4th. I want to start making this. I say it all the time, but then I get this week court every day, warm up, comedy shows, everything else. It's tough for me to get here. I'm sorry. I'll try to do more. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for supporting me. Everybody have a great, happy, safe 4th. If I don't get you before then, leave your comments. I'll answer as many as I can. Thank you.